Story 1. I rarely do it unless it is necessary and small. If someone is at rock bottom or in a difficult situation, I will be gentle because I want to support them. Story 2. I judge it like this. If they found out, would they think it is kind of you to have lied for them, or would they be upset? For example, lying that a dessert was average when someone was sad they could not eat it due to an allergy, even if it was the best thing you had ever tasted, would probably be fine. But lying about someone cheating to avoid getting caught up in drama or making someone sad would probably not be. Story 3. 100% depends on the lie. If they bought a shirt on clearance and cannot return it, well, it looks great on them. If someone wants to name their child Rupert Stupert, then maybe I will say something. Story 4. Depends on what the feelings are and how it might affect them long term. For example, a girl who is clearly put on weight but still looks good. Have I put weight on? Me. You look fantastic as you are. This is not the same as, girl, I really want to rob a bank. I've always wanted to. Me. You should follow your dreams. Story 5. Truth is that you do not know if it will spare their feelings. I personally feel more hurt if someone cannot tell me the truth, even if it is to spare my feelings. I feel like it is an excuse to spare yourself from tough conversations or consequences. I would rather have you hurt me with the truth than spare me with a lie. Story 6. I think it depends on the situation. Sometimes a small, harmless lie to spare someone's feelings can be okay, like saying you like a gift even if you do not, just to avoid hurting them. But if the lie starts piling up or hides something important, it usually does more harm than good. I would rather be honest in a kind way than build walls with lies. Story 7. Sometimes it feels kinder in the moment, especially if the truth might sting and the stakes are low. But long term, even small lies can chip away at trust. It depends on the context. Are you protecting someone or avoiding discomfort? Sparing feelings should never mean sacrificing honesty entirely. Truth with compassion often lands better than silence or sugarcoating. Story 8. I usually tell the truth unless it is very rude. For example, look what I got you for your birthday. Thanks. I hate it. Story 9. I've asked this question a few times, and it seems like about 3 out of 4 people say it's okay to lie if they think it's for the greater good. I work in information technology. When things go wrong, it is usually due to miscommunication, not bad intent. Systems are already complex. That's why I stick to keep it simple, stupid. Tell the truth and let people make the best decisions they can with accurate information. My wife disagrees. She told our son Santa is real. Now that he knows the truth, he is 8 and already highly critical of religion, even telling other kids it is fake. My old boss and their family did not tell their father-in-law he had cancer because they thought the emotional stress would harm him more than the diagnosis. So instead of going down the slippery slope of how much lying is okay, I try to just be honest. Keep it simple, stupid. Story 10. I used to ask my wife, do you want the husband answer or the truth? Nowadays, after 13 years of marriage, I have learned to identify for myself the subtle differences between when she is actually looking for my genuine opinion or just wants support in a decision she has either made or wants to make. If I am still not sure, I ask the question above. Story 11. White lies might be acceptable, but not in extreme situations. You can sometimes stretch the truth, but it really depends on how well someone can handle a lie or the truth. Story 12. A woman my family knew was diagnosed with cancer. The doctor did not tell her since she was about to go on a much-needed vacation, and it was already too late. He told her after. I feel that is justified. Story 13. I have stopped doing that. Instead, I just tell people, it is really not any of your concern, or I do not have an opinion instead of lying about anything. Story 14. I have faked many orgasms. For the record, it is often the men who believe another man is bad in bed who are actually bad in bed themselves. This is why I end up faking, because the difference between what a man wants to think about himself and his actual skill are two different things. How can you be honest about this without hurting a man's fragile ego? They often end up going to another woman who is willing to fake. Story 15. If someone needs a boost of confidence, I find a way to give it. If someone is looking for honest truth, I give it. You can be truthful and spare someone's feelings at the same time. Story 16. It is better to tell the truth no matter how hard it is to say. In the long run, you do not want to be caught in a lie that you cannot escape. Story 17. Depends on the lie. If it is a little you look great when someone is clearly trying, no harm is done. But if it is something bigger that hides the truth or dodges accountability, it almost always ends up hurting more down the line. Honesty with kindness is better than lying with guilt. Any day. Story 18. Sometimes kindness feels like a white lie, but real love finds a way to tell the truth gently. It is not just what you say, it is how you say it. Story 19. I am a straightforward person. Cannot lie even about small things. Not telling at all? That can be done. But if a person asks me, they will receive the most honest answer ever. Story 20. Tell me lies. Tell me sweet little lies. Tell me lies. Tell me lies. Oh no, you cannot disguise. You cannot disguise. No, you cannot disguise. Tell me lies. Tell me sweet little lies. Story 21. I do this constantly, and it is a key feature of my personality shaped by trauma that I wish I could delete. What comes from a place of self-sacrifice and protection is more often than not just taking the agency and autonomy from the person I am saving. But there is also context and nuance. For example, I should not tell my 10-year-old son that the reason his mother and I split up 5 years ago is because she wanted to date someone else while we were engaged. That does not help anybody except my ego. So that one stays. Story 22. I used to defend this reasoning to my last breath. That was until I lied to protect my ex and his feelings. Our relationship was tumultuous, to say the least, but I always hated lying to him. One time when he found out the truth, he said, "Don't you think this lying got us here in the first place? I'm more hurt to find out you lied than I would be if you just told me the truth the first time." I have lied since then, but not to him. Story 23. If it is important and you need to tell the person whatever the matter is, I always choose to do it softly. I am not a fan of brutal honesty unless all other options have not worked. If it is not important and you do not want to upset your friend, I am all for a gentle white lie. Story 24. Imagine for a moment the doctor lies and tells the patient they have no cancer, just for their peace of mind. Story 25. It depends on how important and big a lie is. How was the meal they cooked if it was terrible? I am going to say something vague. Versus, does this suit me? Not going to lie, but say something like, you have nicer things, or that is not making the most of your assets. The main thing is you need to be kind, and if possible, not lie. Story 26. It depends. If it is my personal opinion, I try to be kind. Sometimes I am evasive. I hate lying. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I hate being lied to as well. I assume everyone does. So I rarely lie. The only exceptions are good surprises like presents or similar things, because the person will be happy once it is revealed. Story 27. A lie inherently implies guilt and wrongdoing on the part of the person who lies. If it is better not to state an observed truth, then you say something cryptic, perhaps an allusion to the truth. Story 28. Depends on the lie. If it is a little white lie that has no real weight, it is mostly harmless. But it can lead to a slippery slope of dishonesty in some people or cause the person lied to become unsure of the other person's trustworthiness. It also depends on the people involved. Some people have a zero-tolerance policy for dishonesty, even to spare their feelings. So, it is really situational, but minor lies of omission tend to be less controversial than lies of commission. Story 29. My spouse does not believe in lying or lies of omission, although the latter is more of a gray area because he is certainly not going to bring up painful issues. He believes lying denies the other person choice. It means they are moving forward without a true, full picture of the situation, which robs them of their ability to make a proper, informed decision. The problem is, he is an extremely intelligent, diplomatic, empathetic, and persuasive person who is usually able to lead people through the truth in a way that still makes them feel okay about it. I do not have those skills or that kind of patience. Sometimes I just want to tell somebody I love the rainbow sunglasses they gifted me and move on. He tolerates my white lies to others and never lectures me or brings it up, but I can tell he would have found a different way through. It is like living with Captain Picard. He is a government lawyer, and a well-respected one with a high percentage of wins, so people are often skeptical. He refuses to take on cases he feels have no merit. He reaches out to opposing counsels to make deals that benefit both sides that they can jointly present to decision-makers, and he makes sure he knows his area of law inside and out. He is constantly studying. During the COVID-19 pandemic, I got a front row seat to many online hearings, and it is true, he really does not lie. Story 30. For me, while lying is perceived as wrong in most situations, there are circumstances when it can be justifiable to protect oneself or others, prevent harm, or avoid causing unnecessary distress. However, it is crucial to weigh the potential consequences and consider alternative actions before resorting to lying, as it often erodes trust and can damage relationships. Story 31. It depends on the reason. For the truth, is it hurtful? Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it fixable? Do they care to fix it? Do you like my new haircut? It is not fixable until they have grown it out. Then say, I like it grown out. Does this make me look fat? It is a trap. Tell them what looks better on them. Story 32. If I do not know them well, no. If I know them well and they are dying, yes. If I know them well and they are in a highly vulnerable situation, yes. If I know them well under normal circumstances, no, unless I talk beforehand and know they do not want to know some things and would prefer being lied to, which is usually the exception. Story 33. That little lie to spare someone's feelings is not worth it. That little lie would cause damage more catastrophic than the painful truth would. Story 34. Like saying I loved a gift when I did not. It feels uncomfortable sometimes, but I just do not want to hurt anyone. You know? Story 35. Depends on context. If the person looks for validation, I lie to cheer them up. If I know something that would hurt the person, I either stay silent or, if they can take action against it, I tell the truth. Examples. Lie. Do I look fat? No. Silence. Do not bring up the time when the person had an accident. Truth. X cheats on Y. We need to talk. Story 36. Is it a lie if you need to say it? Otherwise, she would flip the narrative and use it against me, as if I insulted their entire family? Story 37. Hi there. That is a really thoughtful question, and I think it is something most of us wrestle with at some point. As someone who values honesty, I try to avoid lying in general, but I also believe there is a lot of nuance to this. When it comes to sparing someone's feelings, I think it depends on the situation. If it is something small, like saying, this dish is great, even if it is not my favorite, I do not see much harm in it. It is a kindness that does not really hurt anyone. But if it is a bigger issue, something that could affect their decisions or well-being, I would lean toward being honest. Story 38. I'm at a dinner, and my friend hands me a plate of his famous lasagna. I take one bite and immediately think I have just been fed rubber bands and sadness. He is staring at me, waiting for praise. So I smile and say, wow, this is bold. I have never tasted anything like it. Story 39. That needs context. Lies told purely for comfort with no real impact beyond that are acceptable. For example, if my friend made the most average cookie I have ever tasted, I would still tell them it is good. However, lying for comfort when there are real consequences is wrong. That would be like being unable to say no because you do not want to hurt someone at that moment. That is not comforting. You are placing them in a worse situation when the truth eventually comes out. Story 40. I think it depends on the person. Some people, if you tell them the truth, they take it and try to improve, but others will see it as hatred. Story 41. It depends on the situation, the person, and how much the lie really helps versus harms. Honesty paired with kindness and empathy is usually the best approach, but sometimes a gentle approach is necessary. Story 42. I usually feel bad, but the degree of feeling bad varies depending on the situation. Sometimes, a little white lie is kinder than a harsh truth. Other times, it is better for them to know the truth themselves than to hear it from me. Story 43. When it comes to a loved one or a white lie that will not cause any damage, sure. When it comes to choosing not to mention something inconsequential that will not result in anything positive from telling the person, sure. But in a situation like using it to justify not telling a significant other that you do not feel the same about something important or something is annoying you, then no. Story 44. I am a straightforward person. I will not deceive anyone or sugarcoat the truth. I just tell it like it is. Story 45. Losses aren't needed to spare feelings. Tact is. Lies seem like an easy way to deal with a situation, but the long-term effect is seldom considered. Story 46. It does depend, but generally I do not like to do it. Honesty is better. However, that does not mean you have to express every single criticism you can think of. You can keep your negative opinion to yourself or only share part of the truth. There is almost always something positive you can say about any situation without lying. But outright lying to make someone feel better is mostly wrong in my opinion. It might also be necessary or appropriate in some situations, though. For example, if someone is on their deathbed and about to pass away, there is no reason to say anything that would make them feel bad, and no reason not to tell a white lie. Story 47. I have a friend whom I told once that if she no longer wanted to talk to me or hang out with me, she could just tell me. I would not argue or fight. I would simply say, okay, and respect it. Even though I said that, she replied, I can't do that. It's too mean to say that to someone. This came up because she was telling me how she no longer wanted to be friends with a certain woman. She started going to places the woman did not like, became shorter in conversation, and delayed her text replies. The woman eventually realized this and sent a long message expressing that she felt ignored and was basically saying goodbye to my friend in a kind way. That is why I told my friend to tell me directly if she ever felt that way about me. She refuses to do so. I even asked her, what is more mean? Telling someone you do not want to be friends anymore? Or stringing someone along, pretending to like them until they pick up the hints you are dropping? Since then, I have noticed her doing similar things to me, but whenever I call her out, I am told I am overthinking or being dramatic and imagining hints that are not there. Well, where do you think I got these ideas from? Story 48. If it is a white lie that makes them feel better and the person is upset, then yes, I am fine with it. However, if the truth is something they need to know, then I tell them the truth. Story 49. It depends on how deep the lie goes. For instance, not telling someone that their husband or wife is cheating is too far, but pretending to like your friend's overly salty food is acceptable. Story 50. I think my wife is lying to me now about still loving me. It is difficult. We are in therapy, and I was hoping we were both putting in an honest effort, but she is not. Ironically, she signed us up, but I think it has made her more distant and unwilling to help me through a difficult time. Story 51. We'll do it for other people. For myself, just give it to me straight. I am going to be more annoyed if you spend time beating around the bush instead of just telling me. Not only is the result the same, but you waste more of my time by telling me. Story 52. This is one of the most frustrating things to me. It hurts my feelings. All these lies, redirections, and omissions leave me room to construct the most foul and horrifying scenarios in my head. I imagine every possible thing that can make me feel terrible. Things that probably hurt much worse than the truth. Story 53. Do not do it. There are ways to approach all meaningful conversations with honesty and clear empathy. Story 54. I wake up lying to my spouse every day. How do you think most marriages last? Lies on top of lies. The foundation of lies can support a city. That is how Mexico was built, on a swamp of lies. Story 55. A lie is a lie. It is rarely justifiable. But I understand why people do it. It does not make it right, though. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.